Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. Doing some late breaking. Well, it's about as late breaking as it gets on here. A few hours ago, talking about some major news about Paige, and I brought in some old friends from around the way. Some fellow ramblers joining me for this discussion this evening. Mr. Max Magis and the Baron, all former ramblers from Rambling About Wrestling. How you guys doing tonight? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, but don't sound so enthused to have us here. I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks since our other show went off the air. You should be excited to have the Baron and myself on your show, not just, yeah, they're here tonight, thank them.
I am
true.
Excited. I am very excited to have you guys on. I mean, yeah, I wanted to talk about this, but I didn't want this just to be myself and I. I figured I'd bring some friends in on this one. It'd be a better discussion, a better vlog. So
well, correct me if I'm wrong here, J-Bone, but I do believe we were the first two on Smash This Podcast when you started it up.
That could be possible.
I think we were.
Listen, I'm gonna have to go with my colleague on this. If he thinks we were, then damn it, you know the right answer is yes, Baron. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah, I know I was. Thank you.
Baron will take that for $200.
Oh, we're getting paid for the show? I love it. I love it already.
It's like a game show. Yeah. See, I know you guys still have checks waiting from the other one. I'm legit on this one though. No, I'm kidding.
I like it.
So yeah, what we're talking about tonight is the headline that came through a few hours ago, courtesy of, well, everyone's talking about it, but I think the main source so far is PW Insider from Mr. Mike Johnson. Paige done as in-ring performer for WWE. She was injured a few weeks ago, right at shortly after Christmas.
Tell them how she got that injury.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. I'm just trying to find the verbiage in the article because this article is actually quite long. But well, she was in it was at a house show, wasn't it?
Madison Square Garden.
Nassau.
Oh, here we go. Nassau Coliseum. Long Island. Paige had her back to Sasha Banks, who was behind her against the turnbuckle. Banks used the ropes to pull herself up and kicked both legs into Paige's back. Paige, obviously not ready for the bump, went down. She tried to get up but could not get her legs under her. Finally did get up and turned to grab Banks, immediately falling down again and rolling over onto her back where she stayed. And I actually just watched the footage today for the first time. I had not seen it before. I just watched it like an hour ago. That
kind of reminds me of, not to cut you off, it reminds
right.
me of Sting. You remember when Sting got injured and Seth Rollins threw him into the turnbuckle and that was a eerie. Yeah, it was tough to watch. Sucks for her, really does.
Yeah. It continues here. The referee checked her and called for the bell. She was examined by WWE medical personnel, and a stretcher was brought to ringside to transport her back to the locker room. After several minutes, Paige walked out under her own power. And it was believed at that time that she had suffered a stinger, leading to her losing feeling in her extremities. Given her previous neck injury, or neck surgery, WWE pulled her from the ring and set up further testing that led to this week's decision. And unfortunately, and it goes on to say how she was announced for the first ever women's Royal Rumble match for January 28th in Philadelphia. But now it looks like that's not going to happen. Man.
I mean, it does really suck, and she's missing a huge opportunity with the women's battle or Royal Rumble that's coming up too.
Yeah. Max,
I hope it's not true.
Oh yeah, I mean, we haven't heard anything from the company or her herself. They're probably saving it for Monday to get everything, squared off, put together, and official as far as throughout the company. And possibly also trying to, before they announce it, maybe get some kind of secondary plan in action for her, which I think would be smart. Max, what are your initial thoughts about hearing all this?
We've talked before that the reason that we don't like the word fake when we've worked in the business is honestly situations like this. We take these moves, we get hurt in this business, and I'm really hoping that this is just a rumor that's gotten out of hand since nothing has come out from Paige or the WWE just yet about it. But everything I'm seeing, including checking in with a source of mine earlier today, or before we went on air, really, tells me that it looks to be legit. It looks like it's going to happen, and I'm going to side with Paige's Instagram post that she made earlier today, where she talked about the comeback, which that may be her confirmation for now until she can make it official. I'm going to root for the comeback. I was really looking forward to seeing her compete in the first ever women's battle royal. I mean, she has been part of this women's revolution on WWE since day one.
Yeah.
Since the inception of the legit, I'm not talking about the silly competition NXT stuff that went on after they wrapped up ECW, but the legit transformation from Florida Championship Wrestling to the TV show that's now on the network, NXT. Her, Summer Rae, and Emma, and this is not whether you think they're legit or better than the other or whatever. I'm just saying those three were what launched the NXT women's division, and man, there was so much talk about Paige when that NXT started, as far as where she came from, her age. They didn't want her doing too much, like going to the main roster or anything, until she was at least 21. Shoot, she's only 25 right now, and that's one of the saddest things about this. It's not like she's been, I mean, yeah, she has been doing this for a lot of years, but she's so young,
Yeah, no, she's had a rough 2017 and a very rough start to 2018. With all the other stuff, that was going on outside of wrestling and to right now. You think about where her career was going to go, whether, if she doesn't get cleared by a WWE doctor, does she move on to a different company, continue to wrestle? I think that's out of the question. The biggest question is now, not to defer away from Paige at all, but what's going to happen to the other two females she was with? I'm bad with the names.
Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. So losing her as being their kind of forefront of that stable is really going to hurt their characters in the long run, or even short run. WWE could get tired of them and send them back to NXT or whatever the case may be. But man, it really sucks for Paige, because I was rooting for her comeback after everything that went down with her outside of wrestling.
Oh yeah, she had a rough year. Name trashed in social media constantly with relationship rumors. There was the porn leaks, that happened to a bunch of the girls, including her. Just so much negativity looming around her, and then the comeback that we've all been waiting for, and she comes out with the girls, and yeah, it was so good to see her. Um,
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't she injured right before she got suspended for the wellness program or policy? Didn't she get injured and then try to come back and then got suspended for, 30, 60 days or whatever? I know she was fighting an injury throughout when all the porn leak and Alberto stuff was going through. I know she had an injury, so it kind of brings up the question, did they bring her back too soon?
it was actually, I think it was like mid to late 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she was out for injury, and, I don't know if she tried to come back or whatever the case may be. She went to the doctors and didn't pass her wellness policy, so
Yeah,
kind of brings up the question, did they bring her back too soon?
and I, I have no idea what the initial injury was to her neck, exactly what it was, how severe. Excuse me. That I never heard. And then I heard issues on whether she was going to have surgery or not, and that discussion in social media went on forever, as far as waiting for things to happen with Paige, her losing her patience with the company. So yeah, there was so much stuff that happened.
It sounds like it's kind of similar to the Edge retirement injury he had. He had the neck injury and all this other shit that was going on with him. So it does not look good for her at all.
No, a lot of people are comparing it to that. She also has the movie coming out. They mentioned that in this article that that's still in production between the Rock's company and the WWE are putting together that movie about Paige, coming up in a wrestling family and then making it to WWE and whatnot. And that's supposed to be out in September. So yeah, I'd have to assume that she's going to stay with the company to help promote that in some way, shape, or form. But what with the official retirement looming in the soon to near future, we're assuming if this is all going to come to fruition within the next week, as far as WWE's announcement or something coming out from Paige on, say, Monday Night Raw or something. What would you guys like to see happen with Paige? Would you like to see her become more of a managerial role? Obviously, she's going to be very limited physically as to what she could do so that the company can keep her safe. Would you like to see her become a trainer down in NXT, or would you like to see her maybe join the ranks of the announcers? What would you guys like to see her do in her future with the company if she stays with WWE in the next year?
Well, I would love to see her keep wrestling, obviously, but that's probably not going to happen. I don't see her being an announcer, commentator. I think she's going to fight I think there's going to be a lot of mental struggle with this, if this is the case, of her being, retired.
Yeah.
What's going around. She was fighting with drugs. I'm not sure what drug substance she was on. A lot of mental issues she had with Alberto Del Rio. So I have a feeling she's going to take this very, very hard if she is having to retire from WWE. So really, right now, I would like to see her kind of take time for herself outside of wrestling.
Just step away for a while.
Step away. I mean, she's been wrestling since she was 16.
Yeah, she's probably been wrestling for probably at least actually the last 10 years of her life. She probably started super early.
Too. Yeah, non-stop wrestling. Being on the road this goes back to every podcast I've done. We've talked about injuries. It goes back to WWE needs to limit their people on how many dates they're wrestling, because obviously way too many dates and way too many injuries happening in wrestling right now. Really, maybe a couple years down the road, I would like to see her come back, be a manager. I think she's missing out on a huge opportunity at the Rumble. But right now, she's got to have Paige time, as I should call it.
Yeah.
Step away from wrestling for a while. Go back home. Maybe help out your parents. I mean, does her mom still own the company? Their own company?
Yeah, there's still
there's
the biggest independents in the UK.
Yeah, so there's an opportunity for her. I think right now the main stage of WWE would be very hard. We've heard many stories with Daniel Bryan, many podcasts about him talking about how hard it is to really be in WWE and not wrestle. So I'd imagine Paige would take it very hard. I think she needs some time away from wrestling.
Yeah. What do you think, Max? What do you think she should, or what do you envision her doing?
Well, I honestly, let me start with what I think has been going on. Raw has an invasion. SmackDown has an invasion that looks eerily the same. I think all of this is part of something bigger that we have not seen come to fruition yet. Yes, it's part of the women's revolution in the WWE, but it's also, I think, something bigger with the NXT people that are coming up next. I think that what we're about to see is going to be a bigger scale. I think we're going to see people like Velveteen Dream and a couple of others make their way to the main roster, but I see this being a faction that's going to both rosters. And honestly, I don't see Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Sonya Deville, or Mandy Rose being the quote-unquote mastermind behind this. If I had to choose one of the 6 people that's already made their presence known to be the mastermind behind this invasion, to me, I think Paige is the one with the experience in the WWE to be the one to do that. That being the case, if she really is done with wrestling as far as physically in ring, I do agree that she's going to take it hard, but I think you still have a role for her going forward with this storyline, because if she is the mastermind behind this invasion, she can still be pulling the strings without having to be in the ring.
Yeah, that's true. Could be.
So is she going to be like the godfather of this invasion, kind of, not a Godfather role. That's not a very good reference, but
I would view it more as like the Heenan role. This would be like the Heenan family that she's bringing onto the main roster. Is probably the best way I can word that to kind of get the idea across of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, somebody has to be in the forefront, and if she's going to be injured, it'd be perfect. But
no one would be able to touch her though in all this.
Yeah, she wouldn't be able to get in the ring.
Here's the thing. Everybody looks at it that way, like, oh, you can't touch this person, blah blah blah. You can to an extent. You can't put like Edge. He came back and he did that bit with them, that forced Cena to bring back the Authority, and it got physical for Edge, but he didn't take a bump, nothing like that. So it's doable. You can do it. You just gotta know what you can do and what not to do while you have them that way. For example, I wouldn't put her into any kind of bump, but you can get physical with her, like slap her across the face, push her into a corner, or she does one of those to you.
Yeah, I
Could
mean,
happen.
yeah. So, yeah, it's touchy. We'll be following this very closely for the next few days and see what exactly all comes of this. Um, yeah, I mean, it's so sad because I honestly, I mean, everyone had their own predictions as far as who they wanted or who they saw winning the Royal Rumble. I think with the comeback of Paige over the last couple months, bringing in the new faces, the momentum behind her, I had absolutely no doubt in my mind she was going to be my pick to win the new Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think she was probably at the top of everybody's list. One of the most notable names, women-wise, in WWE, and she just made that big comeback. And this is a huge opportunity for all the women in wrestling. I know it stings for her because this would have been her time.
Yeah, I can't imagine what she's going through emotionally or mentally. That's you know, it's got to be a tough one, but she's got a strong family behind her. I know she's close with her folks and her brothers, all still wrestling. Um, so yeah, I mean, who knows exactly what's going to happen? Like I said, we'll be following this closely. Um, any other thoughts about Paige and where this is all going before we wrap this up, guys?
Well, and let's, this is not confirmed, 100% confirmed by anybody that this is, this is true, that she's got to retire and whatnot. And maybe it's just the WWE doctors telling her she can't compete in a WWE ring. Who says she can't, her contract, I read earlier, ended in 2019. So who says she can't, leave WWE and go to a, ROH is coming out with the women's title now very soon. So who says she couldn't go down there and wrestle? I think there's a lot of opportunities for her, but I think definitely number one is Paige's got to look out for Paige and do what's best for her. But she needs some time away.
Yeah. Well, she even said and I heard the clip earlier today. She was recently on Lillian Garcia's podcast. This was a week ago, something like that. And she said that her doctor told her that she should not be getting in the ring anymore. So, yeah. But, she was, and she even said she was working out when she wasn't supposed to be working out. She's stubborn, but hey, people are motivated, they're stubborn. They want to do what they want to do to try to make a comeback. Max, any final thoughts from you?
Honestly, I hope that it turns out that this was just that not necessarily a misunderstanding is not the word I'm looking for. I'm hoping that it turns out they jump to conclusions and that everything will be okay. This women's Royal Rumble, it's pretty much one of the last couple of things that they haven't let the women do for themselves prior to this revolution that's gone on, and to exclude one of the women that started it would really suck, despite the fact that if she actually is injured and it's possibly career ending. Yeah, I can understand that, but God, I hope she can be in that match. I really do.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow, maybe. Yeah. We'll see how this all plays out. Like I said, we'll be following this very, very closely. So that's going to do it for this discussion on Paige's. Go ahead.
The Paige portion yet? I'm good on that, but can I just mention that I read something about Stephen Amell being at All In? You reminded me of this when you said Ring of Honor.
Oh yeah, he's confirmed for All In. Yep.
So is CM Punk. I'm kidding. I saw somebody posted a picture on Twitter the other day, and it had like, I guess, kind of like a dream match. And it had CM Punk versus Omega. There was a list of people, and I was like, oh Jesus, not CM Punk. And then somebody posted a picture with CM Punk all in. I think I'm gonna find the background for that, and I'm gonna say I'm all in.
Yeah, they're slowly confirming people for that, and the date is set, but the location is yet to be revealed. So yeah, lots of crazy stuff going on in the world of.
That's not till September, right?
September 1st.
September.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Let's hope for Chicago. Oh, sorry. So that's going to do it for this discussion on Paige's possible career being done. We haven't heard anything officially, like we said, from the company or Paige herself. It's all been through PW Insider, amongst others. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And thanks for watching.
Best wishes.
Yeah. And thank you guys so much for joining me. It's been a while since we chatted. We'll get you back on here as soon as possible for more discussions. I know a lot of shows coming up. NXT in Philadelphia, Royal Rumble. We'll do some predictions coming up. Get you guys in here for that. So for these two, I am Jay Bone for Smash This Podcast. We'll see you guys down the road. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Fuck Dizzy.
Oh my God.